Hey everyone, I'm Nico Chief Bricks, and today I'm building 3 clone bases in 3 different locations. I'm very excited to start building, but before we get started, if you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe so you do not miss any more future LEGO Star Wars content, and go ahead and smash that like button for this video. But without further ado, let's get building. The first clone base location will be on Udow. First, I started laying down all the plates. Then I started placing some structure down for the base. I was going to do majority of the base plate is going to be the clone base. I was kind of thinking on how much ratio I wanted, but this one was pretty good. So I started building up the walls of the clone base. I placed down some 1x2 modified bricks on the wall because I like to do a little bit of exterior detail. And I went ahead and do that on the back as well, so I can kind of keep it consistent throughout the whole base. Then I put the doorway, and then I started to do one layer of dark red plates for, the Republic colors. And then I started building over that. So the base is getting done pretty fast. Once I was done with building up the walls, I started tiling off the walls themselves so I could make the roof modular. So I can just take it off pretty easily to show the interior. Then I started building up the roof and tiling it off and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. But first I had to get the size right. So for this base, I didn't want the roof to be fully flat, so I kind of just started building up like a corner of the roof to just be more elevated. Kind of, it could be like a generator or just technical structural stuff. I just didn't want the roof to be flat. All that was left to do for the roof was just to start tiling it off. I was mixing around with what kind of pieces I wanted up here, so I added just some fortifications, maybe a little like a generator. So overall, just to add some little detail to the roof. Added some grill pieces there at the front, behind some fortifications, just for some more detail, more technical stuff. And then I just finished tiling off the roof. So overall, it was turning out very nicely. Once the roof and base were done, I then started on the terrain. I had a bunch of new pieces that I had ordered on Bricklink for this specific mock because when it came to Udow and especially dark tan pieces and stuff like that, I was very limited in what I already had. So I ordered a bunch of pieces to really add some detail. And I started laying down some groundwork. This is my first time kind of doing this kind of thing for this type of land work. So it was definitely a trial and error. But I think with what was the final result turned out very nicely. And I'm very happy I ordered those extra parts. Here is the final base. I think it turned out very nicely, very detailed, and especially this groundwork, it looks very nice. I also wanted to do a kind of like overflow off the base, but I think it could have turned out a little bit better. It was kind of my first time doing that, so I now know what to do. But I had some clone troopers walking out here and a clone trooper standing guard, and there are some canisters next to the base just for some added detail. But I think the terrain turned out very nicely, and I now feel I know how to do this kind of terrain now, so this was definitely a nice experiment to do for this mock. I added 2 blaster racks and a little crate just for some added detail and for troops to get weapons for the base. And then there are some control panels and some screens for the clones to use. Now for the second base, I wanted to do the planet Endor, which, is an original trilogy planet, but it was included in the Clone Wars. I just searched it up. But I thought it was a nice planet to do, and, when it comes to mock building, you can do anything. So I decided with Endor for this clone base. So I started off with the structure of the base and what I wanted to do, and I added these slope pieces in the base to just add some more detail to the structure of the base. Then I started with the roof and tiling it off. So midway through the build, I thought it'd be a good idea if I made a fourth of the base under terrain. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I thought at one point I didn't have enough plates, but I ended up having enough, so I was very happy about that. But I added a bunch of rock work, and I wanted to do a dark tan path for Endor, where the clones walk and stuff like that. So the hill turned out very nicely. I just littered that whole entire area with plants because Endor is, thick forest, and it was turning out very nicely. I was very happy about it. So the roof actually had a part of that grass part, so it was all modular, so easy to take off, but it connected nicely and looked smooth. Then I started working in the interior. I tried really extra hard for these control area, definitely better than the first base. And then I added a bunch of crates, but first I was tiling it off. Here is the finished Endor Clone Base Mock, starting off with the tree here. I think it turned out really well, and it resembles an Endor tree, which is very awesome. I do really love the leaves up there. And then I just wanted to put some extra leaves on the tree itself. So I think the tree turned out very nice. I did a new technique where I stacked a bunch of the big leaf pieces instead of singly placing them on the tree themselves. I just did one full big leaf piece and then I stacked the leaves like I always do, and it did turn out very nicely. I'm glad that I did that instead of what I used to do. And then over here, there's the path, and then I did put 3 clone troopers, 501st clone troopers, each with a long blaster rifle, walking up the hill, like, you know, just on a patrol or going to a mission or something. But I was contemplating, like, maybe I should have them walking over here, but no, I wanted them to walk up this hill since I would say this hill definitely is the highlight of this build for me. It's my first time building kind of like a base under like terrain, you know. And then the roof turned out very well too. I incorporated 2 turrets that can swivel. They just are on a 1 stud 2x2 there. And then, like I said earlier in the build, I made the roof modular, so the roof just comes off like that, very nice and easy. And I really do like the control panels over here. So I have 2 501st troopers there, just looking at the screens, you know, kind of assessing the situation, you know, whatever it may be. Then I wanted at least 1 more trooper over here, so he's walking to those crates, you know, maybe to get some supplies or something like that. But I didn't want this area to feel very empty. For this clone base, you know, it could be like a supply base. That's why there's so many like crates and stuff, just for some extra detail. And I think it really did make it feel not as empty. So overall, I think it turned out very nicely. Definitely the hill is a big part for me just because it's my first time doing it. And I think it turned out really well. I just wanted to litter this area with grass pieces because Endor is obviously a very thick forest and has a bunch of plants, and then obviously the tall trees. So overall, I'm very happy on how it came out. And then the last clone base will be on the planet Tatooine. Half of the base is going to be the terrain, with the other half being the base itself. I tried something different using these kind of curved pieces. Curve isn't the right word, but I don't exactly know what the piece is called, but I'll show it later on in the video. But to kind of add some different structural to a base, you know, I wanted to try something new with every single base this video, with this one being those curved pieces, or those kind of like arch pieces kind of type. I don't know what they're called, but it was turning out very nicely. So then I went ahead and started building the roof. There will be no interior for this base. I wanted to be full, just focusing on the base and the terrain. Then when I was done getting the roof layout, I started adding some exterior detail using 2x4 dark red tiles with some slopes, kind of making this cool like fortification on the wall kind of detail. So I was very nice about that. Then with the roof, I fully tiled it off using just a ton of 2x4 tiles, just because I wanted to look very smooth, like not really add any that much detail, and I think it turned out very nicely. Then once I was done with that, it was time to do the terrain. I started out with the rock formations for Tatooine, just kind of adding some, that's what I kind of started off with. I added 3, kind of spread them out evenly, and then I really got to work on the terrain. I just added a bunch of pieces, and it turned out very nice, and there are 2 crates there in front of the base. So here is the 3rd clone base all finished on Tatooine. It came out very nicely. I tried a little something new, like I said earlier, with these kind of, I don't really know what that piece is, but the kind of curved piece a little bit. So getting started, I did just normal clone troopers. I was thinking 212, but I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and go normal clone troopers. So I wanted to make them feel like they were doing something. So this clone trooper here is kind of just looking out, you know, guarding the base. And then we have 2 more clone troopers over here, like, you know, talking, having a conversation. And then I did want to make another clone trooper go up to the door to press the control panel to open the door. You know, kind of just a little like play feature kind of featured there. And then there are some 2 crates over here. So overall, I really like how the base turned out. Especially with the roof. It's not overly detailed like how my kind of past roofs have been, but that's kind of why I wanted to switch it up a little bit. And I think just adding these kind of fortification pieces on each side really made the roof. Otherwise, it would have just been fully flat. And even though it's very simple, I feel like it does look very nice in contrast to the base itself. And then I feel like the red really pops for the clone base. So overall, I'm very happy on how it came out. I think it definitely turned out good, especially with these rock pieces. I wanted to add some layering to the overall terrain and I think it came out pretty good. Overall, I had a very nice experience doing this. It really tested my abilities. I really wanted to make each base a little different, and especially go put as much effort as I could into each terrain for each planet. If you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like and hit the subscribe button to not miss any more LEGO Star Wars content. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.